What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is the Real Housewives of Miami, Season 5, Episode 11. Now, again, there's a little overlap. We are still at Nicole's engagement party. Lisa shows up, and Lisa lets us know that Lenny has finally served her, so she does actually have her divorce papers now. And she said that Lenny actually got into a fight with his parents and told his parents that he didn't want to see them anymore, that he never wanted to see them again, probably because he feels like the parents are taking Lisa's side over his, and he probably just don't want to have no parts of that. Now back over to the argument. I don't know how much of this I said in my last review because, again, it's an overlap, but let's just talk about the fact that Adriana's boyfriend did show his divorce papers, and he did make, I think I said this part, he did make a comment talking about, well, if you can read them. Now, I took that, I was like, damn, that was real effed up for him to say, if you could read them. But, at the end of the day, Alexia, you are running around telling people this man is married. So then she's going to pull out her phone and show her evidence. How you going to show that man your evidence that he's still married? He's literally handing you his divorce decree. You throw it on the ground talking about something. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. And then you take out your phone and you are still showing him his marriage certificate. It's like you're not listening. It's like, I guess you thought that she fabricated the whole thing. But again, the guy was being rude, but I could understand why he was being rude. I mean, you literally have this woman that you don't know running around telling people that you're still married, maybe jeopardizing a relationship that you're trying to build with Adriana, because Adriana is like, listen, I've been cheated on, and I don't want to be that person. Like, I'm not going to be out here running around with a married man, and I think that's real effed up that she had me thinking that he was married, and he wasn't. So, child, it was a whole situation, okay? It was a whole situation, and Adriana ended up, like I said, getting up and walking away. She was like, you know, for him to be talking to me like that, I'm a woman, and, you know, for him to be talking to a man like that, I don't appreciate that. And she was like, I'm going to punch him in his face. Now, I think in that moment, I think Adriana probably would have tried to punch that man in his face, okay? She was really that upset. And again, she had a right to be, because he was rude to her. But I understand why he was rude. Like, I absolutely understand why he responded the way he did. Okay? So everybody had fun the rest of the night. Partied the night away. Then we see Nicole with her therapist. Well, her friend who is a therapist. And her friend was just, you know, she was asking her about the party. And Nicole was talking about her father. And, you know, the therapist was basically telling Nicole the same thing everybody been trying to tell Nicole, what I've been trying to tell Nicole. Girl, you're going to have to take your father where he is, and either you're going to accept him and love him where he is, or you're going to have to move on. But this is who he is. And he didn't cause a scene. He didn't bring the girlfriend. He did exactly what you asked him to do. Everybody loved him. You had a good time. He had a good time. Take it as a step moving forward and just leave it there. You know, so then Alexia is having a brunch at her house, and she said that she's going to invite a family attorney to help, basically to help Lisa, because you know, they feel like Lisa needs somebody to tell her what she needs to do and what she doesn't need to do, child. So, of course, Marisol was the first to show up, and then Nicole showed up. And Nicole and Alexia sort of had like a soft truce, right? It wasn't like an apology kind of thing, but they hugged, and, you know, it was a soft truce. But then Larsa walks in, and it is an iceberg. It is an iceberg. They're not speaking, basically, Nicole and Larsa. I mean, they acknowledge each other's existence, and that's pretty much about it. So then, Julia comes in, and basically when Julia walked in the door, they were too busy talking to really acknowledge that she walked in the door. And of course, when she walked in, they were talking about Adriana and her boyfriend and how he was a butthole and everything. So on top of the fact that they sort of ignored her when she came in, they were talking about her friend. Next, Adriana shows up. But here's what we found out before Adriana got there. Alexia explained to Nicole and Marisol, oh yeah, he is divorced. He's not married. I didn't scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. Girl, what? So you've been going through this whole thing all season because you saw a marriage decree and you didn't scroll all the way to the bottom of the page? It didn't occur to you to keep going? So here's my problem with Alexia. The minute Adriana walked in the door, you should have pulled her aside and apologized. Even if you didn't want to do it in front of the group, even if you didn't want to, like maybe you were embarrassed to say it, you should have apologized. You should have pulled her aside and said, Adriana, I apologize because I was wrong. I looked at the paper again and I read the. You didn't even got to say. You didn't even have to admit you didn't scroll to the bottom. Just say I read the paper wrong. My apologies, and please extend my apologies. Even though I think the way he acted on Saturday night or at the party was disrespectful, I understand his anger because he was divorced this whole time. Like, that's what adults do. But no, not Alexia. Alexia refuses to apologize even after Adriana says, so don't you think you owe me an apology? She was like, I'm never going to apologize. What do you mean? No, I'm never going to apologize. Girl, what? But you were wrong. So they sit down and they start eating, and they were talking about their, relationships and kids and how, kids can feel about relationships, whether they're breaking up or whatever. And Julia told the story of when her and Martina first got together and how, her friends make fun of her because, they were a gay couple. And so she said, she talked about how, her and Martina did the biggest French kiss in the middle of France just to prove everybody, like, listen, whatever, we're here. Love us or hate us, we're here. And so Alexia takes this as an opportunity to say, well, considering the way you feel about women, I was a little surprised, at the party the other night, we had a man in the group who was being very disrespectful towards me, and you didn't speak up and you didn't defend me. And I'm thinking, nobody did. Like, why are you singling Julia out when like nobody else sitting there said anything either? Like, or at least that we saw on camera. Marisol probably was the only one, but Marisol don't count. So then, of course, Adriana and Alexia get into an argument. Again, Alexia refuses to apologize. She does admit that the man is divorced and that she didn't scroll all the way down. But even with that, why wouldn't you just, again, if you didn't apologize before, you definitely owe her an apology now. So Lisa shows up, and Lisa was like, listen, them arguing works for me because the last thing I needed is to be worried about what I have going on in my own personal life. So cheers and here for them to be sitting here arguing, okay? So Nicole actually ends the argument and says, listen, maybe it wasn't done in the best way, but the intention was in the right place. So can we just agree that her intention was in the right place and move on? And so Adriana is like, sure. So then she turns to Larsa and says, I think that's our misunderstanding. I think that's the problem between us, that you made a comment in a public statement that was slanderous. So here's the thing. What ended up happening was Marisol was the one that told Larsa the quote-unquote rumor. But what Marisol told Larsa was she dated somebody she used to work with. And what Larsa said was, you slept with all of the doctors at the hospital. See, Larsa, that's the problem. The problem isn't that you repeated what Marisol said. I'm not even mad at Marisol, even though Marisol always the one, spreading the rumor. But I'm not even mad at Marisol for being the one that said it, because Marisol said what we found out to be true. Nicole said, listen, when me and my husband were separated, yes, I dated. I was a separated woman, legally separated, and yes, I dated one of my coworkers. He was a doctor, I was a doctor. It wasn't a big deal. But that's not what you said. What you said was you slept with the whole hospital. That's not what happened. And Larsa won't back down off of it. She won't adjust herself. And again, just say, you know what? I exaggerated. I was trying to make a point. You're right. Maybe it's a bit much. I didn't think about the repercussions that, this could affect your job, that I said that. Like, again, just freaking be adults about the situation. So then the attorneys show up, and the first person to ask the attorneys a question was Julia. She asked them about, the Don't Say Gay law, the fact that they're trying to adopt, and could that affect, their chance at adoption. And the lawyer said, listen, it shouldn't, you should still be able to, adopt somebody. So then Adriana shows them, shows the guy a copy of her divorce decree, which was really unnecessary at that point because Alexia had conceded that the man is divorced. So you showing the attorney the divorce decree to get the attorney to confirm that that's a legit document kind of was unnecessary at that point. Now, if Alexia was still trying to insist, then I see the point, but it really wasn't necessary. So then Nicole decides, well, let me ask you a question about defamation and slander. And the minute she did that, oh my gosh, Alexia was like, that's not what he's here for. He's not here for that. He's here to talk about, and you're getting ready to marry an attorney. Why can't he answer the question? You know what defamation is. That's not what he's here for. And Alexia totally loses it. And I'm just like, what's the big deal? Like, everybody else is asking about their own personal situation. Let the man answer the question and y'all move on. So then Alexia was like, I'm paying him, and that's not what I'm paying him to do, baby. Why Nicole was like, so what do you charge per hour? Baby, why she go in her bag and pull out that Amex Black and slam it down in that man's lap and was like, I'm paying for this. Baby, they were mad as hell. Now, I don't think they were mad because they don't have an Amex Black, because I don't know what these people have and what they don't have in their back pocket. But they were mad, I think, at the audacity that Nicole was like, I'll pay for his time, but I'm going to ask my question. What's the big deal? So he eventually ended up answering the question. And we finally got everything calmed down to a point where now Lisa can actually ask the questions that Lisa needs to ask. And he was being very honest with Lisa about what she needed to do. They were trying to talk in third person, but everybody knew they were talking about Lisa. But he was letting her know what she needed to do as far as the house, as far as getting her affairs in order. Because right now Lenny is just trying to put her out the damn house. Lenny is trying to put her out of the house, and it seems like he's moving in that direction. And Lenny, because this was premeditated, he's probably already talked to an attorney. He probably already has been doing what the attorney told him to do. And Lisa, you behind the 8 ball because, one, you didn't see it coming, so you didn't know the plan. Well, you should have probably seen it coming, but you didn't. And number two, you were stuck in a holding pattern because you were like, okay, he's going to wake up tomorrow and he's going to get over it. And no, he was moving chess pieces while you were stuck, you were stuck on the other side of the board. Like, what do I do with my pawn, right? So I think overall it was probably helpful for Lisa to hear some of what this man was trying to tell her. But ultimately, you know how these things end. Everybody was hugging and smiling, and we thought good. We found out later on that they weren't, but whatever. So then we cut to Lisa at the house. Lenny then came back home. He's not speaking to her. He's being nasty to her. She's trying to talk to him. He doesn't want to film, which is understandable. But he's just being really cold towards her, and he's just being really rude and, not trying to be nice at all. And the kids are acting out. The little girl that hit her. She hit her brother, and then Lisa tried to tell her no, and then she hit Lisa. Poor Lisa. She don't know what to do with herself. I said, oh my goodness gracious. But Lenny is just being a jerk. Like I said, I know there's two sides to every story, and we're only getting Lisa's version, but he's just being a real jerk. I don't know. Anyway, that's pretty much where the episode ends. Let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.